All right, here we go. 56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
The guy you're talking about, one of those weird announcer jinxes. Here's Brady's pass. It's Gronkowski. Back again.
It's now time for the Natural State Sports Podcast with your hosts, Michael, Aaron, and Mike, where we take the biggest headlines in all of sports and we debate them from the fans' perspective. It's the Natural State Sports Podcast only on Podcast Network 49, and it begins right now. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into the Natural State Sports Podcast. I am Money Mike. Going to be joined here pretty quick by Mr. Mike Pettis here coming at you live. Of course, we want to let you know if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and give the page a subscribe. Leave us a comment. Go to the Facebook page. If you're watching on Facebook, like the thing, share the page, all that good shit. And then if you're watching on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere like that, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. But with that being said, let's go ahead and waste no time. We've got a lot to talk about and a lot of fun topics to talk about. Let's go ahead and bring on the one and only, my favorite co-host, Mr. Mike Pettis. Mike Pettis, how are you doing today?
Couldn't be better, Mike. Couldn't be excited about the show.
Hey, absolutely. We got a lot of great topics to talk about here today, and I'm so excited to do this. That's why we got an early start. I couldn't wait any longer. So let's go ahead and get into it. We have a video from KXAN on Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC.
And more breaking news for you. Invitation accepted. Texas and Oklahoma officially joining the Southeastern Conference.
All 14 SEC schools voted to invite Texas and Oklahoma, and we're all here trying to absorb this. Roger Wallace joining us now with the very latest stunning news.
Came out of the blue last Wednesday, and here we are to this point. Texas and Oklahoma are going. The SEC release saying starting the 2025 school year, that's how long Texas and OU are under contract with the Big 12, but that could certainly change. It's been quite a week and day when this story rocked all of college sports. Since then, Texas fans have had a chance to digest what will be a monumental shift.
Still support them.
I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be very good for the University of Texas.
You know, I think it's really going to change college football. I think we're going to see a lot of changes in the conferences, and just, you know, the competition in the SEC is unparalleled and unrivaled, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Texas regents will meet tomorrow to make it official. Then Texas can put out some sort of statement. 90 minutes away in College Station. Well, the Aggies now find themselves aligned with the Longhorns again. That's why A&M left the Big 12 back in 2012. KXAN's Chris Tavares traveled to A&M to get the reaction on how they're dealing with being back together again.
Texas and Texas A&M both might need to update their fight songs.
We can sing the songs and like actually mean it because we're actually playing them, and so I'm excited.
Instead of singing about saying goodbye to each other, with Texas set to join the SEC, they need to start saying hello.
I'm super excited. The rivalry is going to be back. I know whether the game's at DKR or here at Kyle Field, which is obviously the better stadium, it'll be rocking.
A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, they're following us. Like, this is just great. And then everybody, like other people are like, this is going to be fun to like, hopefully like take them down again.
It changes the whole approach. Like, now that I know that there's going to be the rivalry again, I'm way more excited to go to football games.
For Texas A&M students who've gone half their lives without this rivalry in football, maybe absence really has made the heart grow fonder.
You know, we're not close, but I feel like we have a secret love-hate relationship where we actually like them, you know, and we just put up a front. I'm just excited for it. I think it'd be really fun.
It's a rivalry that used to famously divide homes, but maybe now it's bringing families together, if only until the first kickoff.
For me and my family, I'm a first-generation Aggie, but my uncle actually went to TU, so yeah, we're excited for those family rivals back on again. It's going to be a fun moment.
A rivalry renewed. Now that's something to sing about. Chris Tavares, KXAN News.
And play, they've got to sort all that. What will the SEC look like? Divisions, 4-team pods, we don't know. Again, Texas Board of Regents will make it official. So will the Oklahoma Board of Regents tomorrow. That's why we've not heard anything official out of UT until the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Robert, Britt?
Got to get the lawyers lined up, everything. Thanks so much, Roger.
We do.
Okay, so Texas and OU officially going to be members of the Southeastern Conference in 2025. I got to give them credit. They're going to work out their contract and, finish out the next, 4 years with the Big 12.
Maybe.
But this is where we are. I mean, exactly. This is strictly a money move, is it not?
Yeah, it is a money move, Mike, but you got to understand that we're talking about the University of Oklahoma and the University of Texas, two of the top two programs in the country. I mean, traditionally. I mean, Texas, the revenue is unparalleled, what they have to spend and the boosters, and the amount of resources they have. Oklahoma, just like in this state, Oklahoma is pretty much the show in Oklahoma. It's big time. They play a big time brand of football.
Absolutely.
What better to sell than, hey, come to the University of Texas. I don't know how many national championships they have because I'm a Hog fan. We don't keep up with them. But 3-time defending champions. Come to University of Oklahoma, 5-time national champion, rich tradition. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're in the SEC now, too. So come play the conference in America where you play the best competition, in which you'll see on Sunday because we're sending you to the NFL. It's definitely about money, Mike, and it's also about playing the best of the best and staying at the top peak of the competition. And that's even being in the best conference in America. So I knew it was inevitable. I didn't think it would happen this soon. I really thought that would come in 12 when A&M had to invite. But you remember when the great University of Arkansas left the Southwestern Conference, Texas was pissed and said, how could you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Now egg is in your face because we said you should have joined us.
Right.
Am I correct? So it's definitely about money. It is.
So let's look at this. There's a lot to unpack, but let's start off just with the Big 12 and where they are. And we're going to get into the cease and desist letter a little bit later, but let's start off just with the other schools that are left in the Big 12 that are kind of in a lurch. I mean, you look at it. So we're talking about Iowa State, Baylor, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, and West Virginia. I mean, just looking at it, Baylor's going to have a hard time finding a conference in my mind. Kansas State's probably going to have a hard time. Oklahoma State might have a hard time in and of itself just because geographically, where do they fit in? They don't fit in with the Big 10. They don't fit in with the Pac-10 or the Pac-12, excuse me.
Mike.
This is an odd situation for a lot of these schools.
It definitely is, but the landscape of college sports are changing. And they said it 15 years ago that eventually it's going to be 4 or 5 super conferences. So if you're these ADs at these schools, you're on the phone making phone calls. You're calling the Big 10 office if you're the University of Kansas, the University of Kansas State. You're calling the Pac-12 if you're, the University of Texas Tech, the University of Iowa State. Just certain schools. You try to put yourself in a position to continue to exist and continue to make money and thrive as a university and a program and create notoriety. But at the same time, you want to put yourself in the best possible position. With that being said, that is being the best conference possible. So imagine if you're K-State and Kansas, if, you're booted out of the Big 12 and you link up with the Big 10. You're still getting that good revenue sharing, man. So that's how you look at it, Mike. Or form your own conference in which you're going to have a few heavy hitters in there to be relevant. So the best thing And is to see where you can go.
Let's be honest here. The draw for Kansas to the Big Ten is basketball. Absolutely. I can agree there. But the question is, does the Big Ten want them for basketball? Because let's be honest, the basketball programs aren't making as much money as the football programs. Could we see a Kansas State, an Oklahoma State? Could we see them possibly add some depth to maybe the American Football Conference? Or
that's definitely a possibility, Mike. But that's, it's white noise right now. We really don't know if it's, gaining an attraction. But I can tell you this, and I can almost guarantee this: the ADs are on the phone. You got options. That's definitely an option, to form a comps in that right, but. How many teams from the AAC have you heard of in the college playoffs or threatening the college playoffs? How many of you have heard from the AAC that's possibly in super regionals or regionals? How many have you heard that are, contending for 316s, Elite Eights, and Final Fours?
Very true. I mean, and that's what we're looking at, though, Pettis. You look at it. I saw this tweet earlier. It said, something about Oklahoma, welcome to the SEC, Oklahoma, where you'll be cellar dwellers. And the guy corrected him and said, Oklahoma's not going to be cellar dwellers.
You can't say that.
But
my program.
He did say Oklahoma can kiss their playoff chances goodbye now.
Well,
that's a good point.
The thing about it is it won't come every year like they expect. In the SEC, it's going to come every 14. It's a school like Oklahoma, every 2-3 years, because let's face it, you lose a couple of games, you might be out of it.
Exactly.
Oklahoma's built to win 8 to 12 games a year, even in the SEC. Now, I'm definitely a homer. I'm a Razorback fan, and they've been in the SEC, 30 years in a couple of years? So, we're embedded in the SEC. So I welcome the competition. And we're the best of the best. How are you the best of the best, Mike? You're saying, we don't want Oklahoma or Texas to come. We're not scared of the race. We are not scared of Texas, and we bring the competition. Welcome the competition for Oklahoma. Just speaking from a Razorback fan, being biased, but so do the other schools. I don't play. If I'm LSU, I don't play Florida every year, and I'm like, okay, they add Texas, which is a neighboring state of Oklahoma. I'm not like, running for cover,
Oh, no.
Schools in the SEC was like, bring it on. The vote was 14-0. They only needed, 11 votes?
I think so, yeah.
So, let's go. And they might not through.
Here's one for you. We talk about the rivalry renewed with Texas and Texas A&M. What happens to Bedlam? Do you think Oklahoma and Oklahoma State will be able to continue that rivalry in the non-conference?
Yeah, you keep it intact. The SEC's smart. That's one thing about the SEC. They're smart. They'll keep Bedlam intact because it's money, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Money. And we're the best of the best. We don't care. Let's keep Bedlam going. We can make it like because remember, what conference has the SEC Big 12 challenge thus far, until it demises, which is unfortunate, but
Which, I mean, to be fair, the Big 12 isn't dead yet.
No, it's not.
But it's more than likely going down.
Yeah, unless they get a couple of heavy hitters in there, and I don't know who it will be.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about who they could get in there. One thing that I want to ask you about, too, let's look at this. The first thing I thought of, and I want to know if this was the first thing you thought of, the SEC made this move not necessarily to have bigger chances to get into the playoffs, to make more money necessarily, but this is going to draw into money. The SEC wants their logo on the 25-yard line of that field for the Red River rivalry. Am I wrong? I mean, now the SEC has the two biggest rivalries in college sports. They have the fucking Iron Bowl and the Red River rivalry. It's over. Yeah. There's only Ohio State and Michigan left.
Yeah. Mike, I didn't look at it from that angle, that perspective, but you are correct, my friend. And see, that is amazing. See, if you're the best of the best, you show it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, looking at this, how it's going to play out. So, of course, they talked about, 14 pods or how this is going to align out. What do you think? I personally, and maybe this is because I just don't want to play them every fucking year, I'm all for Alabama and Auburn going to the East
I would love
and
it.
us gaining Mizzou to the West and taking on both Oklahoma and Texas
I would
each
love
year.
it.
I think that's the best idea that they have.
Yeah. I doubt they'll do that, Mike, but that was my scenario. Get Alabama the hell out of the West.
So you don't think that you don't think that's how it's going to work? You don't think that they'll put Alabama and Auburn in the East?
I'm saying that from the perspective, it's what I want,
right?
Not what you want, you know what I mean? So
right,
it could possibly happen, but just hypothetically speaking, man, I hope
it happens.
They'll mess around and pull Auburn and stick them in the East. And
I mean, it makes sense when you look at it. It makes sense to just move Alabama and Auburn over, move Missouri
think about
to
it, Mike.
us.
What teams in one respected state are in the same conference? And that's Auburn and Alabama, right? I mean, same.
Right.
If you go by that logic, they'll do it, but I don't.
I don't know. All I'm going to say is it feels like if we move those two teams over to the East and pull Mizzou over to us, it evens out the sides. Florida is going to be pissed because, I mean, it's pretty much over for them to win the East.
Georgia's going to
Same with Georgia. But, it evens out the sides. Oklahoma has a good chance of winning the West. LSU has a good chance of winning the West. I would even say Arkansas, if they keep on their trajectory, would have a chance maybe every 5 or so years to win the West.
Right.
I see that would be the most positive scenario to how they align these teams once this move happens.
So too, Mike, but too bad we don't make that decision.
Very true. Very true. I mean, and the 14 pods kind of is intriguing to me too. The question I have though is then how do you decide which two teams meet in Atlanta?
I don't know how.
Do you have a playing game to Atlanta then? And you have a whole playoff around the SEC championship?
The SEC championship is so huge because it has playoff implications. We're at the point where we may have two teams in the SEC championship with this new alignment, and you'll see them again in the 16 or the 4. Or, you know what I mean? So they're not going to change that, bro. I don't.
Oh no. It's
just like it's just how you would proportion the teams. Like if you had pods or divisionless conference or whatever may have it, how you would pick the two. But it's just so cool having the East and the West, man. They did it in basketball, and it's just like something missing. So I don't see it.
Well, and that's the thing that kind of makes me scratch my head in that everybody complains about the biggest chief complaint in the current playoff system is, there's 4 teams and the SEC tends to get 2 in each year. Well, guess what? If you increase it, then you're going to be complaining that the SEC got 3 teams or 4 teams or 5. I mean, come on now. That's not going away. The SEC is just strictly in football.
It's going to increase
conference.
Mike, it's going to increase it with the expansion. Look at college baseball. Look at the NCAA tournament. Look at college track and field. Come on, man. It's just going to be more spots that we're going to take. We get that.
Exactly. And that's not me shitting on the Big 12 or the ACC or the Pac-12. That's me being realistic. You're going to see more SEC teams filling up more of those slots. You're not going to get what you want if you expand it to 12 or 16 or what have you. That's why I've always been a proponent of, hey, just leave it to 4. Just leave it to the Final 4, and we'll call it good. But, it is what it is, and we're looking towards expansion. Okay, moving on. The other big story, Russell Westbrook is now a Los Angeles Laker, and a blockbuster trade with the Washington Wizards, and we have the story from ESPN.
Another big story on draft night involved a former MVP moving to a new team, Russell Westbrook, coming home to Los Angeles. The Wizards agreed to trade Westbrook to the Lakers in exchange for Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They will also get Aaron Holiday from the Pacers after a draft night trade involving the first-round pick that they got from L.A. in that deal as well. Lakers will get a couple of second-rounders to finish off this trade. Lakers added former MVP Russell Westbrook and his $44 million salary for the upcoming season. Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis have a combined salary that exceeds $120 million. The only other guaranteed contract on the roster based on this trade belongs to Marc Gasol, so they will need to add to their lineup this offseason. Let's welcome Adrian Wojnarowski now for more on this deal. Adrian, why Westbrook for the Lakers?
Well, Russell Westbrook had a desire to see this trade happen, and he had been going back and forth with Bradley Beal here in recent weeks, talking about Beal's future and what that looked like for him in Washington, and it got to a point where the Lakers and Wizards started to work together, and the Wizards, were willing to give Russell Westbrook the opportunity to come home if the Lakers were able to meet, their threshold for a deal. And I think ultimately getting that first-round pick from the Lakers tonight, number 22, that was one of the final pieces to this deal. But listen, Bradley Beal is going to move forward in Washington. He's eligible to sign that Supermax contract. He can do that this year, next year. And they'll start to have some financial flexibility in Washington, to reshape this roster around Bradley Beal. But Russell Westbrook, this is for a Southern California kid. This is a dream come true to go back, play for the Lakers, and now partner up with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And this is, a big three in L.A. that perhaps we didn't see coming.
But they need some teammates. As we just mentioned, the Lakers currently have just 4 players under contract right now. Where do they go from here to fill out their roster?
Well, obviously, we're headed into free agency here, and they're going to be limited in what they can do financially. I think you're going to have to try to find, I think any number of players on, veteran minimum deals, who want the chance to play for a championship, want to play in L.A., and perhaps are going to maybe take a little less money to do that. But certainly financially, the money tied up now in Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, it doesn't leave a lot of flexibility on this roster.
NBA minimum, but you might get a ring. So I guess that's the pitch. Thanks, Woj.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube.
So let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about this strictly. Let's start with the Lakers side of things. Russell Westbrook, 32 years of age, so he's got a few years left inside of him. Was he completely, though, destroyed by being the only guy in Oklahoma City in those MVP years? It's possible. His body could be giving out on him a little bit early. But let's look at this. We now know Carmelo Anthony has said that he's willing to sign a veteran league minimum to become a part of the Los Angeles Lakers. You're talking about one ball, though, and I'm a Laker fan, one ball and a lot of egos. Does Russ give up the ball? We know LeBron will. Does Russ give up the ball?
Mike, listen. LeBron James is 36 years old. Russell Westbrook is 32. And Anthony Davis is 27.
Anthony Davis is clearly the future of that group, by the way.
Okay. With that being said, these guys been in the league almost double-digit years.
Mm-hmm.
Especially speaking for LeBron. They met 2 weeks ago. I read an article.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of put egos to the side. They stated that, first of all, we're going to lay everything on the table because our goal is to win a championship. Davis agreed to switch to the center position in certain sets. LeBron James also agreed to switch to power forward.
Which both of them hate, mind you, by the way.
Yeah,
both of them hate playing their natural positions.
We know they're selfless players, and it's about sacrifice to win.
Exactly.
Okay. Westbrook said he would defer to LeBron when he's on the court or when it calls for that. You know, that could be interchangeable. He could play off the ball. Sometimes LeBron can. Okay, so that's the start. Brook and Nets wouldn't work, and it seemed to work. It's about chemistry, and it's about checking egos at the door, and it's about the main goal. You know, it would work if you want it to work. Now, with that being said, Westbrook will up the tempo at LA, in which we need, is because it's so
agreed.
They will definitely score more points. Another thing, it will be exciting bringing up basketball, and you know you will get every ounce of him because he plays hard.
Oh, I guarantee you, it's going to be as close to the Showtime era as we've gotten in quite some time. And the thing is with this, Russ is going to bring up that, you know, the scoring and everything like that. He's going to be, I will say this, he's going to be the first starting caliber point guard we've had since LeBron's been there. And that's no knock on Rajon Rondo. That's no knock on them. But, I mean, Rajon's first years were in Boston.
He's elite. Now, anytime you got a guy who's the all-time leader in triple-doubles at the tender age of 32 years old, and it's not slowing down, you know, in which he's a rebounding machine, this machine, and like we say, you play hard. If you can get that man, you're nuts not to. However, it's about what we put around them. It's about the supporting cast that we put around these guys. And I think Rob Pelinka is smart enough and has enough experience in meshing guys around this team to make them successful. You know,
I think the first selling point, Mike, has got to be the Los Angeles. You're going to come play in Los Angeles. That's the easy selling point for you. Second, obviously, LeBron James. Maybe switch 1 and 2. But the first selling point is going to be LeBron James. Here's the question, though. We're talking about veteran league minimum players. We're going to get an old, broke down Carmelo. I'm sorry. Carmelo's old and broke down.
Money Mike, let me tell you why you're wrong. The first selling point is when you walk them in the Staples Center, you point to those 17 banners behind you. That's the first selling point. And then the others follow.
That's true.
If you've been in the NBA for 5-6 years, you're an established vet. It's time to win a championship. It definitely shouldn't be all about money. You play any game to win. Let's not forget, before you were a professional, what were you playing to do? You weren't getting any money. At least it's supposed to.
You were playing to win championships.
You were playing to win, so that does not change, Mike. These guys are in the league for a minute. They get their bag. They get their name out there. They get their notoriety. They get their sneakers. They get their deals, their endorsements. They're ready to win. Now, you call Carmelo broke down an old version. Father Time undefeated, Mike. We can't none of us run for that. Let's remember, Father Time is undefeated. However, if Carmelo Anthony is willing to sign for the vet minimum, a future Hall of Famer, to come to LA and be a part of a potential championship the second in 3 years, why, hell, let's go.
True.
Now, Mike, it's what you put around those players, so that's not going to change.
I mean, and I will say this again. You know, they brought up Marc Gasol. Very happy with Mark. We've got a good piece in there with Marc Gasol. So, I mean, it's not like the cupboard's
$2 million, Mike. That's how much it costs.
$2 million.
He will be there. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not hurting with Marc Gasol. I start getting nervous past those 4 that they have, though. The 4 that they have, they need a 5th to get a starting 5, and then they need to work on the bench.
It's work to be done, Mike. Don't get me wrong, but all the people, Westbrook can't shoot and this and that. Is he perfect? No. Is he amazing? No. We got to find shooters anyway. He's going to be the guy to draw attention to give people wide open outside shots. And
let's be honest. Russ could be the next Kobe. Russ and AD could be the next Kobe and Shaq. When they were paying attention to Kobe, Shaq was wide open.
You know you're getting 70 points, 25 assists, 35 plus rebounds with those guys.
Oh, yeah.
So you just got to fill in the rest.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You know, it's important that they get the right pieces in there, but I don't think it's going to be as difficult as we think. I'm pretty sure Rob Pelinka thought all of this out before he acquired Russell Westbrook.
Oh, absolutely. I would agree.
So,
I would agree.
Now I'm saying, are we odds on favor to win the championship? I'm not saying that. One of the top teams in the league, you know, get to the playoffs and try to make some noise.
Exactly. And I mean, here's the thing. If we stay healthy, absolutely we're at least top 3 odds on favorites to win.
At least.
That's if we stay healthy. Obviously, that's a big deal. Here's one I want to throw by you, though. And I kind of threw this by you before we started today, but I want to throw it by you again and get your thoughts. So, in the Anthony Davis trade with the Pelicans, there was one player that Rob Pelinka and the Lakers brass said that they would not trade because he is the future of the organization, and that was Kyle Kuzma. How has Kyle Kuzma in 2 years made himself available to be traded? That's my question that I have, because he went from, no, we're not giving him up for Anthony fucking Davis. No offense to Russell Westbrook, but he's not on that AD level for me. How have we all of a sudden went to, okay, we'll give you Kuzma for Russell Westbrook?
He didn't lie, Mike. He told the truth. Now, he didn't sit here and say, well, you know what? We will not give up Kyle Kuzma for the next 5 years.
Right.
He said we're going to keep Kyle Kuzma for the immediate future. These guys are good players and good politicians. He never came out and said we would never trade him. He said he's untradeable right now for what they were trying to do. After the performance Kyle Kuzma put on when Anthony Davis and LeBron James was hurt, garnered trading him.
Okay.
He did not step up to the plate as he should have and as he thinks of himself as a player. He said he's on Jason Tatum's level. If you're on Jason Tatum's level, we would have beat Phoenix.
True. Facts.
He would have propelled that team on in the playoffs if he was that coveted big 3. He's not there yet. Is the jury still out? Yes, it is, because he's still a young player. That's why I think it's good for Kyle Kuzma to go get out on his own. Since you said you're on the top tier 3D wings, stretch 4s in the league. I think he said stretch 4 in the league. It's time to find out.
Right. And we will. I mean, mind you, he didn't get traded to a bottom feeder. He didn't get the New Orleans Pelicans treatment. Washington is still a good team, even post Westbrook. They still have Bradley Beal. They still have Gafford. I mean, that cupboard isn't bare.
It might.
We're about to see what they can do, though.
He was the most valuable chip that the Lakers had, too. So if you're making a blockbuster trade, ain't nobody going to let you leave Kyle Kuzma out, bro.
And that's true, especially for Westbrook. I guarantee you that
he's a world champion, Mike.
There was some finagling.
He's a 25-year-old world champion.
Here's the thing, though. You look at what they gave up. So they gave up Kuzma plus we'll just ignore Caldwell Pope because I'm going to be honest, Caldwell Pope doesn't matter in this trade. we could have traded him for a fucking washing machine at this point. They gave up a number 22. You're telling me Russ is worth more than the number 22? You need a 22 and Kyle Kuzma? I still feel like Washington got the better end of the deal.
Well, I did too, Mike, until what softened the deal is when we got a 2024 round pick in return in the 28. You know, so you got something for it. Did I feel we spent? But, however, you got to remember, future Hall of Famer, triple-double leader, helps your offense, brings more excitement, and brings more exuberance and just the excitement and energy to this team. Mike, it's time we would go 8 minutes without scoring points, bro.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You got a guard in the NBA, that still has 3-4 years left in him. Depending on if he stays healthy. So it's okay, man. You gotta give a little to gain.
So before we move on, I want to ask you a clear question. I'm going to give you 3 options. Was this trade A, to gain the most maximum potential out of LeBron James while he's still in the league? Was it to appease Anthony Davis, who could leave for free agency at some point? Or was it both? And it's to get the majority out of LeBron as well as appeasing AD, who I think we both agree is the future.
Probably both. You know what I mean? Because you try to get the most out of your product. You try to get the most out of LeBron as you can until it's over with. And you also try to appease AD. Didn't I tell you they met 2 weeks ago and talked about this?
Right.
Yeah, so I don't think it's any issue with those guys. I think they're on the same page, and I think they understand what they can do.
I think AD is smart enough. I think AD is smart enough, though, that he was going to Laker brass, and he was saying, hey, I love LeBron, and I love LeBron being here, but let's be real. How much longer do I have LeBron? You better have me somebody else.
You can have Russell Westbrook on the floor. You won't need LeBron.
Right.
He's that good. He's a floor general. Let's get that out of the way.
Absolutely.
And floor spacing, Mike.
Absolutely.
Get some shooters around those guys. We'll be fine. So it's one of those things where it's definitely an upgrade. We may have spent a little bit more than we wanted to, but it was a necessity. And it's about what we put around them. Let's not forget.
Exactly.
Exactly. Let's kind of hold judgment on until we see the pieces we put around them. And Carmelo will be a great start.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so if you're an Indianapolis Colts fan right now, you are holding your breath. Carson Wentz out indefinitely with an undisclosed foot injury, and we have a story. Do what?
Is it a broken foot?
It's undisclosed. I have not seen what it is. But Carson Wentz goes down again, and we have a story from the Pat McAfee show.
I'm actually going to park on the side of the road here, so I do this thing full of. Have a good one. Yeah, hey, good to see you. Hey, Carson Wentz is already hurt. Yeah. So. I don't know if you guys have talked about this yet. Zito texted me after seeing me tweet about Schefter's report. No, is basically what I said. Schefter broke the news that Carson Wentz is out indefinitely as he undergoes further testing on a foot injury that he suffered at the end of Thursday's practice, per Mike Wells. Hey, shout out Mike Wells.
Shout out Mike Wells.
Colts second-year QB Jacob Eason took the starter reps at today's practice with Sam Ehlinger as the backup. Okay, couple quick things here. All right? Let's assume that this isn't that big of a deal. Carson Wentz is saying, hey, you know what? I need a little day. Maybe he's just relaxing. Maybe it's not as serious as maybe Schefter's talking about. I don't know anything about Jacob Eason, all right? I love Sam Ehlinger. I knew he said, we're back with Texas. They weren't. I think he's a great player, though. I think he's a great player. He'll be fantastic. I thought Carson Wentz was going to win the MVP again. AJ, Darius,
hold on.
What the hell happened?
I need to know for you, though, Pat, are you more worried, though, the fact they said they need to, he needs to undergo more testing, because that usually is saying, hey, we need to rule out some things. We want to make sure it's not something more serious.
Yeah, this is like a field. In golf, they say, because I've been doing a lot of golf lately because I'm going to win $20 million from this son of a bitch in the middle.
Hell yeah!
In golf, whenever they're teaching golf, they say like a feel versus a real thing. Like feel versus real. Like, hey, you need to do this. It needs to feel like this, but it's actual. I think the tests hopefully are like Carson saying some things. And the incredible medical staff at the Indianapolis Colts, I cannot stress this enough. I have had great experiences. I don't know about everybody else, but I know there's a lot of other people that have a lot of respect with them. I think the more tests is probably Carson's explaining some things. Maybe this is how I'm feeling. Let's go get some more tests, a scan, whatever the hell's going on, further testing. Is that physically? Is that scans? What does that mean? I don't know. But it is a little scary to know that I saw Carson Wentz throw a 70-yard pass yesterday due to the Pythagorean theorem across the field. I was having a Feel Good Friday shout to CBDMZ, and then Adam Schefter breaks my heart yet again with the report.
Fucked it up.
I hope it's less than what it feels like right now, because we're way too early in this Carson Wentz is all the way back conversation. We haven't even had a chance to really enjoy it, Darius.
Yeah, I'm not too worried personally, man. Early in training camp, got a little injury. Be smart, don't push it. I mean, we saw this dude come back, tear his ACL, take a snap, throw a touchdown. Tough country guy. Not worried about Carson. He'll be all right this year. MVP odds probably stay the same. But I'll reach out to some sources to get some more information. But I'm not stressed about it at all.
That's what that test does, AJ. And you somehow microdosed your way through it and still remain toxic. Did you hear how positive Darius was about this situation? Yeah. How come that couldn't happen to you when you?
How was I not positive? I was asking a follow-up question because of the tweet, how it was worded. I'm trying to ask a follow-up to you, a known Colts fan. Like, how do you feel? Because you can represent Colts Nation and maybe make them feel a little bit better about this situation.
Well, Darius got that handled. Okay, I had the full panic. All right, I was the Colts fan that had a full panic there. And
Relax.
I'm literally driving. Okay, all right, I get to a red light. Oh, this is awesome. About to hop on a bird, fly to Minnesota, have an anniversary weekend after the biggest SmackDown in the history of SmackDowns. I stop at a red light. I open my phone. First tweet, because the Twitter algorithm says, hey, Pat, we want to fucking ruin your day real quick. Adam Schefter, bang, right there on top. Carson's out with a hurt foot. I'm like, golly, that was it right there. Zito just did it again, or Foxy just did it again. So I'm happy to hear there's a little bit more positivity than what I was radiating. You guys are doing a great job. I got to get on this bird. I'm happy to hear Carson's okay because Darius Butler told me so.
Hey, yeah, he'll be all right, man. We got some feel-good news coming up, though.
Okay, so you kind of got the Colts fan reaction there. I'm telling you, if I'm Indianapolis, I'm worried. I mean, Wentz at this point, we know he's injury prone, and I hate to put that tag on anybody, but Wentz is, since the first original injury when he was tearing it up with the Eagles the Super Bowl year, and he went down and Nick Foles came in to win the Super Bowl that year. Since then, I don't think he's completed a season without being injured. So if you're Indianapolis, you have to be nervous about this. You have gambled the franchise for this quarterback, and this is where we are right now. I mean, Pettis, are we making a big deal about nothing, or are you worried for Indy?
It's hard to say that you're not making a big deal because of the just the history of being injured. You know, he ain't played a full season, I think, since his rookie year. So I don't remember I played one then. So you kind of err on the side of caution when they say he's hurt and we're waiting on a test. You're like, here we go again. So you hope that and you hope that he just tweaks something and he'll get back on the field, but. You really have to raise the eyebrow and just think, man, did we get damaged goods, or should we just invest in our backup, make sure they get snaps, because he's gonna get hurt.
When they signed him, I believe they signed him. I don't think they traded for Wentz. I could be wrong on that. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong.
They did,
but
they did
I believe they signed him. When they did so, I raised my eyebrows. I was like, whoa, Indy is gambling. I mean, this is another situation. Indy has had, outside of Peyton Manning, because I'm going to throw Andrew Luck in this category, Indy has had terrible luck with quarterbacks. Yeah. Indianapolis, except for Peyton Manning, has not had a great run with quarterbacks.
Jacoby Brissett sounds good right now, which they traded all season, right?
Right.
Yeah, they kind of had bad luck, man. It's just what I'm thinking is, was he 100% before they even traded for him?
I mean, you would hope they did their due diligence and put him through a physical and stuff, but
well, I'm sure they did the physical thing, but I don't think I don't know.
Right. I mean, we know how sometimes easy physicals can be.
And who is so, but what guys prone to get injured, they have to be close to 100% as possible before you get them back out there. And
exactly,
this is what, summer practice or summer camp. So
this is I think we're still in OTAs. So like these are voluntary practices.
I want to put it down like it ain't a big deal, but it actually.
Absolutely.
You can't keep this dude upright.
So here's another one, though, that I want to pose to you. They obviously are allowing Jacob Eason to take the first string or the starter reps right now. Do you not give those to Sam Ehlinger? Jacob Eason isn't going to be your future at quarterback. You just drafted Ehlinger out of Texas, and we know that kid's got potential. He probably the best quarterback since maybe Colt McCoy at Texas, and you're going to leave him on the second string. I think that may be a mistake that the Colts are making.
I don't know, Mike. You got to remember Jacob Eason was originally at Georgia with was it Jake Fromm?
Yeah,
and transferred to Washington, so he was a highly touted guy too. I think it's one of them things where the chain of command, you see what you got at number 2, you see what you got in him, but you have the luxury of going to this rookie, Sam Ehlinger. But I don't think you should just stick him in there. We kind of let him get acclimated to the NFL. Now, we've seen crazier things happen in the NFL when all the quarterbacks get hurt, so he may have to play by force. So you got to be ready. But yeah, start with Eason and see what you got in him, Mike. And go from there, because he was a highly touted kid too. And then keep Ehlinger in the back burner. We're talking about a year apart. Remember, he just got drafted.
Right. That's true. So, moving on here, we have the NBA draft occurred this past week. I believe Thursday evening it occurred. And we have this one's going to be a little bit longer. It's an in-depth look at the top, I believe, 5 draft picks of the NBA from Bleacher Report. Okay, so we just saw the first 5. We saw some highlight tape from the first 5 picks there in the NBA draft. Real quick, Pettis, Cade Cunningham goes to the Pistons. The Rockets get Jalen Green. Evan Mobley goes to the Cavaliers. Scotty Barnes goes to the Raptors. And the Magic get Jalen Suggs. Who out of those 5 do you expect to have the most initial impact on their squad?
I'm gonna definitely say Cade Cunningham. He's a complete player. Got a chance to watch him a lot. Following Moses Moody, they're real good friends. He went to Mount as well. I'm gonna say him. I'm gonna definitely say Evan Mosley, and I'm gonna say Jalen Suggs.
Okay. Well, I tell you, I think Mobley has a chance. Evan Mobley has a chance to definitely turn things around for the Cavs. Obviously, the Cavs having their issues since LeBron left. I think that he has a chance to get some things on the right direction. But, I mean, it is very close with Cade Cunningham there at the Pistons. The Pistons have been just – I hate it for them because I like the Pistons organization, but they have been irrelevant for the past 15 years. Since 2007 when LeBron – dropped the last 50 in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, but you got to give it to him. And I got a lump in my throat saying this is a Laker fan. And liking Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. It's a championship organization. It's been a minute. So I'm surely they want to get back to championship ways. But Cade Cunningham is a good start because he's a complete player. It's not all about being hot, flashy, and all the dunks and all the fancy dribbling. He's the more complete player in the draft. So I definitely think that's good for him. And I've been watching Evan Mosley as well. I think he's more of a polished guy that's ready now. Now, we just said polished and ready now. I think several others are going to be good. Like the Jalen Green kid and, a few other cats. So I thought it was a pretty good draft overall.
Absolutely, and of course, we'd be remiss to move on as Hog fans, without mentioning Moses Moody goes to the Golden State Warriors. Moody may get a chance to plug and play a little bit there in Golden State, along with, future Hall of Famer Steph Curry. Great position for him to be in.
Yeah, the NBA drills for 3D wings. He's a 3D wing, with a 7'1" wingspan that could defend. That's an elite scorer that can shoot, high basketball IQ, and is just ready for prime time, man. The kid's ready. He's always succeeded on every level. I'm excited being a native Arkansan as he is, as you are. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. We're rooting for him.
Absolutely, and he may be just that piece that the Golden State Warriors need to get out of this free fall, so to speak, after the loss of Kevin Durant and a few other key members of their championships dynasty that they were going through with Steph and everybody else. So definitely one to keep your eye on. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to be right back after this, wrapping things up with the Madden 22 position rankings, the Big 12, and, of course, we can't leave without talking about Aaron Rodgers. So we'll be right back after these messages. Each and every Monday night, join the American Idiots podcast for a fresh look at the top headlines that are currently dividing our country. It's the American Idiots podcast only on Podcast Network 49. Every Saturday afternoon from 2 to 4, join the Natural State Sports Podcast with Michael Carnahan, Aaron, and Mike Pettis, where we take the top headlines in all of sports and we debate them for you, the fan. It's the Natural State Sports Podcast, only on Podcast Network 49.
I've been champion for a long time, Tony, simply because I'm the best there is. I got more women waiting for me in that hallway, quivering, shaking, having conniptions than you met in the last 5 years. You know why? Because I just happen to be Slick Rick.
Join Michael and Aaron each week as they break down the most influential and sometimes downright hilarious pay-per-views in professional wrestling history. It's the Wrestling Wrap-Up Show, only for you on Podcast Network 49. Each and every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, join Michael Carnahan and Lisa O'Brien for the Clear and Convincing Podcast, live on Podcast Network 49, where we look at the most infamous cases in our country's history, not from the court of public opinion, but from the court's perspective. It's the Clear and Convincing Show on Podcast Network 49. Each and every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, join Podcast Network 49's newest host, Felicia Collins-Brogy, for Positive Tea with B, your weekly dose of positivity, only on Podcast Network 49. It has never been any easier to keep up with all of your favorite Podcast Network 49 shows. If you're a fan of just listening along, you can always go to iTunes or Spotify or wherever you get your favorite podcasts and subscribe. If you're more of a visual listener to our shows, go ahead and check out our Facebook and YouTube lives, or you can always go in and check out the archived content. Once again, it's never been easier to keep up with Podcast Network 49.
All right, here we go. 56-yarder. It's got, no, does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
The guy you're talking about. One of those weird announcer jinxes. Here's Brady's pass. It's Gronkowski. Back again.
It's now time for the Natural State Sports Podcast with your hosts, Michael, Aaron, and Mike, where we take the biggest headlines in all of sports and we debate them from the fans' perspective. It's the Natural State Sports Podcast only on Podcast Network 49, and it begins right now. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to get back into things here. The Madden 22 position rankings have been released. I'm going to go through the quarterbacks real quick. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes, 99 overall. Number 2, Tom Brady, 97. Aaron Rodgers at 3 at 96. Number 4, Russell Wilson, 94. Lamar Jackson, 5 at 90. Deshaun Watson, number 6 at 90. Number 7, Josh Allen, 88. Number 8, Dak Prescott, 87. Number 9, Ryan Tannehill, 87 overall. And number 10, Matt Ryan, 85 overall. Let's go ahead and talk about that top 10 list there for quarterbacks. Let's start there. Where's Ben Roethlisberger? You have Ryan fucking Tannehill there. Where is Ben? Like, I'm just saying. Ben just had his best season ever, and y'all done shit on him.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see Tannehill in there, but I can't too much complain about the other ones. But we're talking about the mad rankings, Mike.
Right, this is true.
Dude, it ain't, I think.
This is true. This is true. I mean, you got to say also, though, where's Jimmy Garoppolo? Jimmy G, in my opinion. Ryan Tannehill is better than Jimmy G. Josh Allen is better than Jimmy G.
Hold on, let me make this clear. Hell yeah. Jimmy G don't need to be nowhere on this list.
Damn.
He needs to be as far away from this list as we are from San Francisco. He does not, I repeat, he does not need to be on this list. Proceed.
Oh, shit. The Jimmy G hate.
Ben, yes. Jimmy, hell no.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that Jimmy's in the bottom half of the league, but, definitely Ryan Tannehill is a quarterback that benefits from a great running back. Well, same with Josh Allen, though. Josh Allen's got great receivers.
I like Josh Allen. He's a guy. Tannehill, yeah, he has a great running game, great defense, but give him credit, man. Like I said, they've been hot lately.
Hey, that's true. That's true. The Titans at one point were undefeated.
Coming off a Super Bowl victory, hell yeah, he would have been on it.
Well, and I mean, obviously Pat Mahomes is going to be number 1. I don't even have a problem. I'll even say this. I have a problem with Lamar being lower than Brady and Rodgers. And I'm a Steeler fan, and I absolutely despise Lamar Jackson. But the fact that he is 5th on this list kind of makes me scratch my head.
Well, Mike, remember, 1 is the Super Bowl champion and Super Bowl MVP. 2 is
the GOAT, mind you.
And the GOAT. 2 is the regular season MVP and the baby GOAT. So.
True.
Huh?
It's a good point.
Well,
and then, of course,
not 1 and 2, but you know what I mean. Patrick Mahomes
and then,
MVP.
Of course, Russ is there as well.
Brady MVP. Yeah, all those guys have MVPs.
This is true. Every single one of them. Lamar's actually the highest one that doesn't have an MVP.
It would be number 6, right?
Number 6 was Deshaun. Lamar's number 5.
Oh, he has the MVP.
Deshaun does?
You remember? No. Lamar.
Yeah, Lamar. Oh, yeah, Lamar won the MVP. What was it? Not last year, but the year before.
Yeah, it's 3 years ago now. So the top 5 have MVPs.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, that basically means that they should be the top 5.
Mahomes, freaking A-Rod. Think about it.
Very true. Okay, next up we have the wide receivers. Devontae Adams is the number one receiver at 99. DeAndre Hopkins also has a 99. Allen Robinson has a 98. Michael Thomas, 97. Cole Beasley, 97. Julio, 96. Keenan Allen, 96. Terry McLaurin, 95. Amari Cooper, 95. And Antonio Brown, 94. So another one, though, that
Juju.
Where's Juju? Where's the kid out of Kansas City? I forget his name. Hill. Tyreek Hill.
Where's
Tyreek Hill?
What?
Hey.
No knock at Cole Beasley. You got Cole Beasley over Julio Jones?
Right? Right?
I don't know
Mike
about
Thomas.
that.
Michael Thomas is the number 4 receiver in this game. Come on now.
Yeah, that's some type of fan vote or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something seems a little iffy about that. Jalen Ramsey is the number
Where's
1
Odell
rated
Beckham Jr. at?
It's a very good point. Odell, I think, may be hurt, though, because of his injury last year.
Yeah.
That could be what's hurting him. The cornerbacks, we have Jalen Ramsey at a 99 overall, Stephon Gilmore, 97, Jair Alexander, 95, Tre'Davious White, 93, and Marlon Humphrey, 92. I can't disagree with those. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey is the best corner in the league right now.
That's hard, man, because there's so many good young corners. It's kind of who's been hot lately.
That's true.
Corners in the, some of those guys are staples. Some people could say, where's Patrick Peterson? Even though he kind of had a down year. I mean, so it's one of them things where they definitely went with who's hot. But you got so many great players at that position.
That's a good point. That's a very, very good point. Okay, and here's the one where I think we're going to probably have the most debate. So obviously the top 5 rookie quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence, 78 overall. Zach Wilson, 75. Trey Lance, 74. Justin Fields, 74. And Mac Jones, a 71. Here's my argument. Zach Wilson should not be above Trey Lance, in my mind. And Justin Fields should be the number 2 quarterback on that list. Justin Fields is probably the closest thing to Trevor Lawrence there is, as far as athleticism and actually playing the quarterback position, in my mind. These ratings just make me wonder what
these guys
are thinking.
Look at the coincidence of the whole situation. Look deep into it. They kind of went in the draft order too. That was the same.
Yeah. Very true.
They didn't reach out on a limb and say, "Hey, Mac Jones has an 83."
Right.
Kind of went safe. It went in the draft order, man. So I don't know what else they could have done.
That's true.
Trey Lance should be higher, but let's face it. 6'4" kid, rocket arm, 4.4, 4.5 speed. He has all the talent, but he ain't took a live snap. I'm a realist.
That's
Can he
true.
trade into what we want to be? Yes, he could. So I'll go with the safe pick. I'll go with 3 right now.
Okay.
That's okay.
So
they were just safe.
Hey, we'll see here in a couple of years where they end up ranking out.
Right.
Okay, so the Big 12 has sent ESPN a cease and desist letter involving their conference. They think that the ESPN is the reason why the SEC has taken Texas and Oklahoma. And we have a story from Sports Grid on this. I can't believe you haven't heard this. It's legitimate.
It's time now for our segment, Buy or Sell. Buy or sell time. Ben, are you buying or selling the Big 12 cease and desist letter to ESPN?
We are ceasing and desisting all day long here on The Morning After. I am buying this time and again. I love it. I am here for it. I love everything that Bob Bowlesby has to say, the commissioner of the Big 12, about ESPN trying to speak with member institutions of the Big 12 Conference about what their future might be and how it might affect TV rights. Bob Bowlesby, when you put in a cease and desist letter, you are pretty convinced that some shady behavior is happening behind the scenes. So not only is it a cease and desist to absolutely stop immediately any contact with Big 12 schools, but any other schools across college football that might be in the inner workings with the Big 12 to detract any TV value from the Big 12 conference. It seems right now, Ariel, after Oklahoma and Texas have left the Big 12 conference and are heading to the SEC, times are very bleak for the Big 12. Might they be merging with the AAC, the American? That might be what's at play. Bob Bowlesby not too happy about that idea, but if they could come together in some cohesion, they could hold on to their Power 5 status. But I am all here for the cease and desist letters. Let's keep them going. Who can we cease and desist on the morning after? I just want to be involved, and I want to say cease and desist at all times, and I want to sign my signature in a very cool way. You let me know. We'll cease and desist somebody here in the morning after.
So, the Big 12 is ceasing and desisting ESPN for doing their job. I mean, let's be honest here. It's ESPN's job because pretty much ESPN controls college football's TV rights. It's their job to reach out to these institutions. The Big 12 is grasping at straws at this point, are they not?
It's ridiculous. I wonder how much ESPN pays them a year to televise all their crap.
I know, right?
It's almost like when a respected college football team gets screwed every other Saturday, and, you know, the team or the referees get reprimanded. I can see this right now, Mike. Big deal. You're staving off the inevitable. As you can see, it happen. It says 2025, but it will happen before then. Mark my word. Almost say 20. Right. I promise you, the SEC lawyers are working on that now. And it's about getting buyouts and all that kind of crap that I don't want to think about. But at the same time, is they can cease and desist all they want to, Mike. It's staving off the inevitable. And as you can see, that cease and desist was issued prior to the news that, hey, we're leaving and we're leaving 2025.
Right, exactly.
It didn't stop anything.
If you're the Big 12, you're happy just to have them currently through 2025. Like, you shouldn't be out here throwing this hissy fit because you're just making yourself the laughing stock of college football.
23.
You think 23?
I think they're going to match the gas on it because remember, if the college football playoff committee or whatever the powers that be, if they're sitting here saying, well, this is going to put a staple on the expansion, which it might, guess what's going to happen with Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC? They're going to fast forward it. And it's going to be on track. And when I say it, it's going to be on track with the college playoff expansion. Watch.
It very well could be. That's a good point. You know, once again, money talks. And we could see what.
Wouldn't you want that if you're the SEC? How would it be the first year that Oklahoma's in the SEC that Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Florida, Alabama, and Missouri make it to the 16-team playoff?
That's a good point.
Now I'm kind of reaching, but I'm just.
No, that's a good point.
Reaching, but I mean, hell, if you're the top 15 teams in the country, why not?
Exactly. I completely agree with you. Okay.
So,
go ahead.
So, I think it'll work out like that.
Absolutely. We're going to wrap things up with the talk of the quarterback drama. Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson both ended up reporting to camp, and Deshaun Watson did so a little bit quieter than Aaron Rodgers did.
Would you?
That's true. Deshaun needs to keep his head down, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. We actually
behind his bag.
That's true. We actually have a story here from Flurry Sports. It's an excerpt from the press conference where Aaron Rodgers just completely woke up that morning and said, I'm going to destroy the Green Bay Packers. Here we go.
Aaron, what was this all about for you?
Well, I mean, that's kind of a loaded question. I think, there was a lot of things that transpired. This wasn't, a draft day thing, This was started with a conversation in February after the season ended. And I just expressed, my desire to be more involved in conversations that directly affected my job. Also, I wanted to help the organization maybe learn from them some of the mistakes in the past, in my opinion, about the way that some of the outgoing veterans were treated, and just the fact that we didn't retain a number of players that I felt like were core players to our foundation, our locker room, high character guys. I'm talking about Charles Woodson, Jordy Nelson, Julius Peppers, Clay Matthews, Randall Cobb, James Jones, John Kuhn, Brett Good, TJ Lang, Brian Balaga, Casey Hayward, Micah Hyde, guys who were, exceptional players for us, but great locker room guys, high character guys. Many of them who weren't offered a contract at all, or were extremely lowballed, or were, maybe in my opinion, not given the respect on the way out that guys of their status and stature and high character deserved. And then it kind of progressed from there into a commitment for the 2021 season and beyond. That really wasn't given at any time. So for me, I had to assess the situation, not necessarily wanting to be a lame duck quarterback, especially after an MVP season, which I think you can understand. And then the other part in February was wanting to be a part of conversations involving free agents, which has never happened in my career. I've trained with a number of NFL guys most of my career in the off seasons. My agency, Athletes First, has had a number of high draft picks over the years. I've tried to pass along information. Hasn't really been used, shall we say. So I wanted to offer my services as a recruiter, and I think we can all understand, Green Bay isn't, a huge vacation destination. People are coming here to play with me, to play with our team, and knowing that they can win a championship here.
Okay, so we kind of got an excerpt there from Aaron Rodgers talking about the drama with the Green Bay Packers. It's hard. Usually, so I understand the business aspect of it. I understand hey, you're getting older. Aaron's not fighting any of that, though. Aaron's argument is, I just want to be informed of decisions that are made regarding my job. It's hard to fault him for that. It's really hard to not think that the Green Bay Packers are messing this whole situation up.
You would want a Hall of Famer to be with your franchise his entire career, especially if that is where he started, especially after the situation with the Hall of Famer prior to him, Brett Favre. So you would think that they wouldn't mess this up. At the same time, they're looking at their future. We understand to a certain point, but the man is right, man. What would have been hard about informing him about the Jordan Love situation or the direction on the team? We were one missed field goal. My bad. One missed possession from being in the Super Bowl. An
MVP season, coming off of an MVP season.
We've been in 2 NFC championships. We just need a little bit to get us over the top. And you go get a quarterback, so he should be informed, man. Even if they do make the decision, which is in the better interest of the future of the franchise, which they are anyway. But he deserves, he earned the right to be informed, to be in the loop, if you will, about the direction the organization is going or what they're currently trying to do. Especially, he does.
Absolutely. I mean, he's absolutely earned that. He brought the city their first championship in 14 years when they won it 11 years ago. He's still, and mind you, I just said 11 years ago, and he's still winning MVPs. He would be winning championships if this organization would put the right pieces around him.
Right. They got a quarterback with play for a couple. I don't know. Could that have gotten you over the up the back end of that defense? Who knows?
These are great questions. These are
But
good
the man
questions.
is great. He should. But that makes you feel unwanted and unloved and, really not needed anymore. So one more run, and they'll feel the effect of replace future Hall of Famer MVP quarterbacks. Ask the Patriots.
Exactly. Okay, real quick before we get out of here, we kind of got some breaking Arkansas sports news. Bobby Portis has declined his player option and will be a free agent this summer. Coming off of a championship win, Bobby, I'm not so sure that was a smart choice.
Well, this is what I heard, and I don't know how true it is. He signed a 2-year deal with the Bucks with the player's option, which is smart because you bet it on yourself. Now him and the Bucks have to go back to the negotiating table. I think he'll be back in Milwaukee just for more money. That's it. He's not going anywhere.
If it plays out that way, then it works out. But you don't want to go someplace else.
Nah, I don't think it is. And I feel the Bucks match a fair market value offer for him. Mm-hmm. That's all he wants.
Absolutely.
Yeah, smart decision. And you can still come back.
He needs to come back if he wants to win another title.
Right.
Well, Pettis, that's pretty much all we got this week. Anything else you got before we get out of here?
That's it, man. Go USA, man, in these Olympics. Let's go.
Right on. Well, we will see you next week, same time, same place. You've been watching the Natural State Sports Podcast. We'll see you next week, everybody.
All right, here we go.